All right, welcome in. It is Holden and Keg and Kush, NFL Live line. Well, at least we're live. I don't know if Keg's going to make it. He's seriously bleeding out of his mouth right now. I don't know what happened to him. He's put his blood, literal blood, sweat, and tears into this website. Nuke the House, nukethehouse.com. We will be live for anyone and everyone on August 15th. This show is going to break down the AFC East from a futures standpoint and the AFC West from a futures betting standpoint. My friend Keg, as you see him touching his lip, what the hell happened to you?
How you doing, Bo? We got a situation. There's blood. I mean, listen, I went to shave. I cut my lip. I cut my lip by accident, and it will not stop bleeding.
No. Hopefully it does at some point in time during the show. Everybody's done it, right? I mean, you're shaving. The problem is when it starts looking like a cold sore, and it's not. So I think you're going to have something that looks like that. You're going to need to get a little bit of makeup, my friend.
No, I don't do makeup, bro.
What do you mean you're not doing makeup? You'd rather look like you have a cold sore even though you don't have one?
100%. You want to know why? Because I'm a man. That's why.
All right, buddy. The rumors will begin in the Nuke the House Discord. That's all I'm saying. The rumors will begin. By the way, the site looks beautiful. I cannot wait till this thing goes live for everybody. It's going to be spectacular. The Patreon members are going to get in there pretty soon. We've got a lot to offer you. So before we get into the preview, let me just tell you what we're going to do. We're going to have free articles every single day. You can sign up, get our free daily pick. That'll be something. We're still going to do the most live betting show content in the world, 25 plus hours at least. If you do the math during football season, Keg, it's absolutely ridiculous. If you're watching this live, just so everybody knows, 7 o'clock Eastern tonight, 2 preseason games we're going to be on. We're going to talk about some live betting strategies. But right now, I want to talk about the AFC East, and we're going to start there because I get a message from Keg, and he goes, Kush, here it is. Kush, I just did 8 hours of prep on the New York Jets. Okay, my friend, if that's what you want to do, 8 hours of prep, let's break down the Jets. The Jets odds, futures-wise, to make the playoffs, minus 184. So everybody thinks Aaron Rodgers is going to get into the playoffs. To miss the playoffs, plus 148. Their win total, 9.5. Juice to the over, minus 162. Under, plus 132. The Bills are the favorite in the division at plus 165, plus 170 for the Jets to win the conference, plus 850, and they are 18-1 to win the Super Bowl. They were at 27-1. So let's talk about this team. Aaron Rodgers is back. They upgraded offensive tackle. Mike Williams is off a PUP. Have some questions about their wide receiver group. Defensively, terrific up front with Quentin Williams. Hassan Reddick comes to town. Talk to me here, Keg. What are you thinking with the Jets?
It's very hard for me to be optimistic about this football team because I've been a lifelong fan since I'm 5. But I'm optimistic, man. Listen, it's pretty insane that this team won 7 games last year. I mean, in the most predictable New York Jets way ever, we lose Aaron Rodgers before the guy completes a single pass for the year, right? As a result, we were dead last in pass efficiency, dead last in the league in third downs, dead last in the league in red zone offense. And they were the 6th most injured team last year. And we lost about 40 points of EPA. Now, there were good things that happened. We were 4th in takeaways last year. We only gave up about 12 points per game. And the Jets defense is sick. Now, we have 6 primetime games in the first 11 weeks. So they're going to be in the zeitgeist the first 3 quarters of the year because
I don't know what that means. That's German.
But
I don't know German.
They should start fast. The beginning of the schedule is much easier than the back end. And they're only at a rest deficit like for 2 of the first 13 games. But they were the 2nd most penalized team in 2023, 4th most turnovers on offense. So I'm optimistic, and I think because of the defense, and if Rodgers can stay healthy, we shored up the offensive line. I think that this is the best roster in the AFC East for sure. If Rodgers can stay healthy. And I think we're going to the playoffs if he can stay healthy. So in terms of action, I bet the Jets to win the division at plus 190.
You got a good number.
I like the Jets win total over 9.5 games. It's a little juiced. It's minus 150. But if he stays healthy, I just don't see how they don't get there because they have a top 5 defense. Garrett Wilson is going to go berserk this year. And in terms of his stats, I like his season-long number over 1125. And I like his 1250 plus at plus 150. I would take a shot at 1500 if I saw a line for it. This kid, we don't even know how good he is yet. He's one of 12 people in the history of the sport that have had over 1,040 yards his first 2 years. And when you look at this shit show list of people that have thrown him the football, we have no idea how good the kid really is. So, yeah, high on the Jets. Think they win the division. And I like Wilson's season-long numbers over.
So a couple things to bring up. First of all, again, Keg is bleeding profusely from his mouth because of a cold sore. You said we. Why do you keep saying we? You could say we if you went to a college, but this is a professional team, my friend. How are we doing we's in the year of our Lord 2024?
I'll tell you how.
What?
Because when you've had this much heartache as a fan, right? We're talking about a team that's got the longest streak without going to the playoffs in the NFL. Mm-hmm. They have not won a championship since '69. You're talking about a group of people that have put their blood, sweat, and tears into this team and have literally gotten nothing in return. So I think we've earned the right to say we.
No, you haven't. And here's why. First of all, I grew up a Jets fan as well.
You're not a Jets fan.
Wesley Walker, Richard Todd, all the guys. I started playing fantasy football in 2003. I said, why the hell do I want to root for this garbage anymore? Screw them. Okay? The Jets are not winning a Super Bowl during our lifetime. I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying. It's not happening. But they'll be a good team this year if Rodgers stays on the field. He doesn't stay on the field, they're dead again. Dead in the water. But maybe the best thing that ever happened, Keg, is that Zach Wilson's out of town. The MILF Hunter can no longer do any damage. You didn't talk about the loss of the MILF Hunter.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what's there to talk about? Just get him out. Get him out. He's not here anymore. Let him go. Yeah. I mean,
it's our boy Joey Work. A couple things I need to tell you about. First of all, like this video so you get good mojo for the rest of the day. If you don't, not going to be good for you. Second of all, subscribe to our YouTube channel because Nuke the House, the live programming for the NFL is coming up. The website is dropping next week. I cannot wait. It's going to be the best. And then follow us on X at Nuke the House. Next team to get to, Keg, Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen. Does he have any weapons? No Diggs, no Gabe Davis, although Gabe Davis was a complete enigma. To make the playoffs, the Bills minus 164. To miss them, plus 134. Win totals 10.5, over plus 22, under minus 50. Win the division, plus 165. Again, they're the favorites. Keg likes the Jets. To win the conference, plus 750. To win the Super Bowl, 15-1. Here was the interesting thing last year, and I want to start offensively with them. When Joe Brady took over as the offensive coordinator last year, they ran the ball almost 52% of the time, second in the NFL. Do we see a little old school approach here with more running the football and defense? Because I think the Chargers are going that way, and I think it's going to be quite a few teams that start moving that direction again.
I don't know how much of a choice the Buffalo Bills have. I mean, their number one wideout is Shakir. Like, it's Shakir, Keon Coleman, and Curtis Samuel. Those are the weapons that you have. Now, obviously, I think Claypool is there, right? Valdez Scantling is there. But, like, if you look at the depth chart, like, they're right now, at least, they're second and third string. So, I don't know the answer to that. For everything that the Buffalo Bills went through last season, they were exactly where they wanted to be in the playoffs, at home against KC, winning the game with a quarter to play, and it still didn't matter against the team that looked like they were primed for the taking. And it felt like last season was the year for the Bills to finally get over the hump. And this season, it feels like an uphill battle to get back there, despite Josh Allen obviously being one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And like the Bills have one unit that is projected to be in the top 10 in the league this year. And that's horrific. And it's a gigantic change from a year ago. They had 5 positional units last year ranked in the top 10. So the Bills could be in real trouble. They were also the worst team in the league last season, allowing quarterback pressure in less than 2.5 seconds of time. And they've lost, like you said, they've lost a ton of weapons. And they need to not only hope that Keon Coleman is the real deal, but like that he's going to be the real deal soon. I think Joe Brady should have the team in play action much more than his predecessor, because that's kind of Brady's MO. I think they do have some things to build on from a year ago. For the defense, they ranked 10th in pressure rate last year. The defense also was ranked, I think, 5th in EPA per dropback. So the defense has bright spots to build on, albeit few and far between. But my biggest concern is what you said at the top. They just don't have, like, Gabe Davis gone, Diggs gone. They just don't have the weapons, I think, this year to really help Josh Allen do what he's capable of doing. So in terms of futures, nothing here I really like. I think that the win total's probably right. So no action there. And I just can't pick them over the New York Jets to win this division. I can't.
They're a playoff team, but we're not laying minus 64 to bet that. At least that's my opinion. I think they're still a playoff team.
They could be. But like, when's the last time a playoff team had those weapons?
They're bad weapons, but again, running the ball, defense, Josh Allen could kind of carry these guys, and that's where we are with the Bills. Next team, the Miami Dolphins, to make the playoffs minus 38, to miss plus 112, win total 9.5, over minus 22, under even money. Win the division plus 210, the conference 14-1, the Super Bowl 24-1. Tua gets the extension, 3rd straight year in this offense. They add Jonnu Smith. On the other side, the question is the pass rush going to be as good with Christian Wilkins gone? What's your take on the Dolphins, who were Jekyll and Hyde last year? Great start, could not finish.
Yeah, I mean, despite the struggle down the stretch, obviously they lost the last 5 games in a row late in the year. They snuck into the playoffs. Nobody took them seriously, despite like prolific offensive numbers. And predictably, they got rolled against KC in the wild card round. One of the things they have going for them is they have the 8th easiest schedule in the league, which should help them. But the offensive line as a unit is projected to be ranked 25th. That's not good, man. But knowing how vulnerable Tua is to concussions, they made a conscious effort to get the ball out of his hands faster in 2023. As a result, he was the 2nd fastest QB in the league last year, really getting the football out of his hands. So they're going to need to do that again and often if they want this offense to succeed, because the offensive line is butt cheeks. What is wild is, despite the bad offensive line play last year, they were ranked 2nd in EPA per rush attempt. But I think that they look better last year than the offensive line actually is. The story all year last season was like the inability to beat good teams. This team was 10-1 last year against teams that did not make the playoffs. They were 1-5 against teams that did make the playoffs. That's not going to cut it this year. And I don't see how they beat the elite of this league again. I think they're a half step behind them. Can the Dolphins get back to the playoffs? Sure. That offense is as legit as it gets, even with the bad offensive line play. But I have my concerns. It would not shock me if Miami didn't go to the playoffs this year. In terms of the win total, again, kind of feels right to me. Don't think there's any value there. Can't pick them to win to beat the Jets, but I will give you one sleeper. 5, I think, of the last 6 years, the defensive rookie of the year in this league has been an edge rusher. I think you could find Chop Robinson out there at about 20-1. I don't hate it, man. I don't hate it. Should he be the favorite to get the award? No. But is he live because of how good he is and the position he plays? I think he is. So,
okay, Keg.
I'm
done with the Dolphins. I'm done with them. You're going to take that as your pick. Your rookie of the year. Defensive rookie of the year.
Yep.
Beautiful. I'm also done with the Patriots, but I guess we got to talk about them real quick. To make the playoffs, 250-1. Second longest odds to make the playoffs. Panthers at 300-1. I should say for the Super Bowl. That's for the Super Bowl. To miss the playoffs, it's not even minus 1,800. Win totals 4.5. Drake May's the story. No Belichick, but the defense really kept them in a lot of games last year. What about a best bet for the Patriots? Anything?
The Patriots are in trouble. They not only are they bad, which they are, they have the second toughest schedule in the league this year. They are not favored in one football game this season. I think that their season win total under is probably buy on at 4.5. I just don't see now everybody's like, Keg, that's so low. True. But they are in the bottom 3 in over half the positional unit rankings by unit in the league this year. In the bottom 3. So I just don't see. Listen, can obviously Jacoby Brissett probably going to start at the beginning of the year. Drake May is going to come in at some point. If he's the real deal, could they win a few more games this year than we thought? Maybe. But all reports out of training camp is he's way behind than what they thought he would. They think that Joe Milton looks better. So I'm not optimistic about Drake May. I'll say this to not spend a lot of time on this team.
Please.
I think that the season win total under 4.5 at plus 125 is worth betting. And if you don't bet that, you could go under 5.5 at minus 180 and tie it to something that you like KC to win the division or something like that. So, but other than that, yeah, I could talk about them for the next 20 minutes.
No, I'm done with the Patriots. We talked about the Patriots for 20 years. Okay. We finally got to break them from the Patriots. Again, horrible offense. Defensively, I think they're going to stay in games if they can coach up special teams, but this is one of the worst teams in the league, if not the worst, right? Like button would be great. Hit that like button. Come on, pound it, smash it, do whatever you need to do with it. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. I mean, it's right here. You see the YouTube channel? Just hit subscribe. You'll get notifications when we go live. We have 25 plus hours of live programming, in-game sports betting every single week. We are sending out real-time live sports betting notifications. Okay. So you don't even have to watch our shows. You should watch our shows, but if you don't, you sign up next week. You have your phone, you sign up for notifications. You're sitting there watching the games with your buddies at the bar, at the house, or whatever you're doing. You get a notification, bet the Chiefs -7, plus 200. You bet it, and you're done. So we are changing the betting game here at Nuke the House. He's Keg, I'm Kush, and we're going to move over to the AFC West now, our AFC West divisional futures, and we start with the Chiefs. I mean, to make the playoffs -500. To miss plus 360, I feel like that should be plus 3,060,000. Their win total is 11.5. To win the conference plus 350. They are the shortest odds to win the conference in the AFC, to win the Super Bowl, 6-1. They're tied with the Niners for the shortest odds there. I think the Rashee Rice story is going to be a big one. Xavier Worthy looking great in camp as a rookie. Hollywood Brown's there. See if he can stay on the field. But defensively is where this team has just taken huge leaps over the last year and a half. Chris Jones, they run that 4-3, and they've been dominant. So I haven't even talked about Patrick Mahomes yet. So take it away, Keg. What are we doing with the Chiefs in the AFC West?
Kansas City Chiefs. They were an average football team for a large part of last year. Like, at times, the data was not pretty on them. But obviously, Mahomes is the most special quarterback in the history of the game. They finally hit second gear in the playoffs, but they still weren't as good as we've seen this team at times, because they needed magic late in the Super Bowl to steal another one away from Kyle Shanahan. A lot of people, including myself, thought that the Chiefs' regular season was mediocre because they were 8-5 through the first 13 weeks, which is basically slightly above average, right? But then I think we need to put a little bit more respect on them last year than we initially thought, because the biggest feather in their cap during the regular season was that for the first time in the history of the league, they were at a rest disadvantage for 6 consecutive weeks. During that span, they went 2-3, but in the other 15 games, they were 13-2 and covered the spread in 12 of those games. So I think that they are better than we thought that they were, like, through the first 14 weeks of the year. The Chiefs have 12th easiest schedule in the league, which is fine for them. One thing that you mentioned, like, when you name those guys that they have as weapons now, Kush, it's just, they're so fast.
Yeah.
They're going to be so fast for Mahomes that I think it's going to help, like, an aging Kelsey that can only do so much during the regular season now. And, like, you just let him go nuts in the playoffs. So obviously I think they win the division. That's a given. Now, I already gave out a couple months ago, we gave out Kansas City to win the Super Bowl at 9-1. That number is obviously a memory. We bet it during the break between the Pro Bowl and the Super Bowl last year. We already pulled the trigger.
Hey, Keg, is 6-1 okay?
I would say probably not.
Okay.
Because if they do drop a couple games or they get off to a slow start, you could see that number go up during the year. We did see that number go up at times during last season. So if that happens again, you might be able to get a better number. It's just such a short price, 6-1. But other than that, 11.5 feels right. They won 11 games last year. They probably win 11 or 12 games this year. So that feels right to me. I don't mind the division. They're like minus 270. I don't mind taking that and just parlaying that with any other division that you like to in terms of a team to win the division, because I just don't see how they lose that division. It's just not going to happen. So okay. I don't mind that, but aside from that, that's it.
Nuke the House website debuting August 15th. We're going to have articles on there. We're going to have live shows, in-game shows during the afternoon, everything that you can think of. So it's not just live betting here at Nuke the House Sports Betting. We're also going to be doing pre-flop. We do futures just like this show. Like button to be wonderful. Keg, the Raiders were the next team you wanted to talk about. Plus 320 to make the playoffs. Minus 430 to miss. 6.5 win total. Plus 900 to win the division. Minshew or Aiden O'Connell at quarterback. That doesn't make you very comfortable, but really love their defense. I mean, that came on last year. Max Crosby, one of the best pass rushers in the game. There's no question about that. Malcolm Koonce, Christian Wilkins, who I talked about with the Dolphins. That's huge. Top 10 defense last year. What about this year for the Raiders? Are there any bets you like?
Well, I mean, the good news is the two biggest reasons for that team failing last year aren't on the team. I mean, Josh McDaniels might be the worst head coach to ever do it,
Okay.
at least in the running. And Jimmy Garoppolo is gone. They also have the benefit probably to not have to deal with the growing pains of Aiden O'Connell. I think Gardner Minshew, he probably gets the start, Minshew. And to be honest, I think he is a giant step up for this offense compared to O'Connell and Jimmy Garoppolo for sure. And then obviously Antonio Pierce galvanized this team. And you know, mentally, they're in a far better place this year than they were last year. Scoring 14 points a game isn't going to cut it. The team was so bad offensively that they threw an interception every 20 pass attempted. Think about that. Every 20 passes attempted, which it obviously ranked dead last in the league. But I expect the offense to have a nice bounce back season. I think they probably break into the top 20 this season in EPA per play, if I had to guess. Both sides of the ball have a lot of work to do, though. You know, the defense can't finish in the bottom third. They were in the bottom third in red zone defense. They were in the bottom third in third down defense. And expect to be successful. Like, they can't do that again. Obviously, getting Christian Wilkins is huge for the inside. You know, to me, the Raiders feel like they are probably the third best team in the AFC West. I've got Denver in the basement. Because Harbaugh is with the Chargers, I'll probably give them number 2. In terms of props, the Raiders win total is 6.5. And that could be a little low considering where you know what they went through last year, and they still won 8 games. But they are missing pieces. Josh Jacobs isn't there anymore, among others. I lean they sneak over this win total. I think that they're going to get over this win total, but I'm not running to the window to bet it. You know, if you guys like it, you want to pull the trigger, I don't mind it. I'm not going to run to the window to bet it, though. Aside from that, nothing.
So the next team to talk about is the aforementioned Chargers. To make the playoffs, plus 114. To miss it, minus 40. Win totals 8.5. To win the division, plus 350. But Harbaugh's in town. You've got Gus Edwards. I want to bring up Gus Edwards because you had a remarkable stat about him. I think their cornerback position is going to be a weakness outside of Asante Samuel, but running the football with no Mike Williams, no Keenan Allen. What do you got on Gus Edwards?
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is a big year for this team. Big year for especially Justin Herbert and where he's going exactly, because, you know, the poor kid has literally had the 2 worst coaches in football coaching him through 4 years. So he hasn't even had the opportunity to progress really. Right. But he still played better at times than a lot of the quarterbacks in the league. Now, at times, he did not look good last year. He misses more than a couple easy throws, and he missed a lot of touchdowns when it counted last year that he could have easily gotten. But it could be for a number of reasons. Like, he could have been checked out and was like, fuck this team, get Staley out of here, right? Either way, I think Harbaugh should right the ship with this kid and get him moving in the right direction. Well more further advanced than where we thought he would be. The good news for Herbert is that his weapons should be healthy. Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler could never stay on the field for an entire year. With them gone, you bring in Edwards, Dobbins in the backfield. I think Herbert should be able to rely, at least health-wise, on guys like Quentin Johnston, Josh Palmer, DJ Shark. And, you know, I think Ladd McConkey is going to be great for them or to pick up the slack a little bit. Now, the defense has some work cut out for them. They're only projected to have the 27th best front seven and the 22nd best secondary. That's not going to cut it if they want to be successful this year. But the good news is they're in a monumentally better place with Harbaugh steering the ship than they would have been. In terms of one play that is interesting to me, because we're not going to bet them. I don't like their win total. I don't like their division. And this is where you bring in the Gus Edwards stat. One play that I think is interesting is Edwards to have 10 plus rushing touchdowns at 5-1. Now, he should be the number one guy, and we know Harbaugh will use this running game as the foundation of the offense. I could see him getting a lot of run in the red zone. And when you consider the fact that over the last 6 years, Edwards is first in the league in success rate, sixth in yards per carry, and fourth in EPA per rush among active running backs, I just think he's super live at the price to get there, as long as Dobbins doesn't steal a ton of work from him. So I don't mind that as a season long, but past the win total, past the division.
Dobbins has to stay on the field. There's no question about that. All right. Think about your one or two best bets as I talk about the Denver Broncos here. I'm in the Denver area to make the playoffs plus 820. Plus 820 make the playoffs minus 1,600. Win totals 5.5. I'm going to give one best bet here. And if you're smart, most people bet against me, but I think they win more than 5.5 games. And hear me out. Bo Nix, to me, is going to win the job, the starting job. Javonte Pookie Williams, who was absolutely horrific last year, coming off a devastating injury, looking tremendous in camp. Offensive line, returning 4 or 5 starters. I think that's pretty good. The issue here is the pass rush. Now, last year they couldn't stop the run. They rebuilt the line. Zach Allen and DJ Jones. I looked at the schedule. They finally beat the Chiefs last year, but I think they could take a game from the Raiders, if not 2 there. They could take a game from the Chargers, if not 2 there. This will be another team that runs the football and plays defense. And the problem they're going to have is when they're down and they got to catch up. But I like them to win 6 games this year. Okay, Broncos, where are you sitting on Denver? 5.5 win total, 20-1 to win the division. Probably not happening. Plus 820 playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I basically agree with everything that you said. I think that 5.5 win total is right, though. I'm not sure that there's a ton of value on them to win 6 games, but I think it could go either way. So if you like them to go over, I get it. But yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, I agree with everything you said.
Yeah, 6-11. I mean, that's it. Okay, my friend, we're going to get your best bets in just a moment, your favorite bets that are going on here. I want to remind everybody, August 15th, website drops. So get ready for that. We will be open for subscriptions, $59.99 for a month, $599.99 for the year, 25 plus hours of live in-game betting sports programming, free articles, and make sure you hang out in our community, the Discord. Joey Work even stops by once in a while, but we have some of the sharpest bettors that I know in there. A lot better than me. That's not very tough, but Keg, you know this. There are some remarkable bettors that we actually want to get on our team, but they don't want to do it. They just want to enjoy themselves. My goodness, We've got great community that you can actually learn from.
Yeah. The community is great. There are a ton of sharp guys in there, a couple guys that do it full time, a lot of hardcore recreational guys. Obviously, people like our coordinators that are always there to help people like Joey that pop in that have a ton of baseball knowledge. So yeah, the community is the foundation of what we're doing here. So one reminder, we will be live tonight at 7 p.m. for the first half of the preseason games. Holden and I just seeing if we could find an angle, promoting the site and getting out. All right, best bets. I can't believe I'm going to say this because it goes against everything inside my being. The New York Jets to win the AFC East plus 190. The New York Jets over 9.5 wins. And Garrett Wilson over 1,125 receiving yards for the year. So you could write it in stone that this team is going 7-10.
Thanks, everybody, for hanging out in the chat, watching this video. Like button on the way out. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Get the notifications as well so you know when we're doing shows. Keg and I are doing a lot of shows during the week. He's obviously with Coop and the rest of the boys. We're still doing NASCAR. We're still doing fighting. We're still doing baseball. So get in on the action next week. $59.99 monthly, $599.99, $120 savings. August 15th, the new site drops. And tomorrow we'll do the AFC North and the AFC South. I want to thank everybody for watching the show today. And please nuke the house.